That removes my ability to hire a team and work and bring you the other side of the story. My website was closed down, but I was completely unaware that Panorama, the world's leading investigative journalist documentary, were working on a programme about me with the working title, Tommy Takedown. This was their final punch. They were about to discredit me to the nation, to you, the public.
I love it.
And I will prove that documentary is not impartial, that it's scripted, that they invent things, that they lie, that they clip, that they edit. What you will witness in this documentary will prove to you this isn't about Tommy Robinson. This is about all the people that have been lied to, all the people who have been mislabeled, despite all their efforts to silence me. It become very apparent that something far more sinister was going on. With the collusion between the establishment, Panorama, and a far-left extremist organisation called Hope Not Hate. You're going to hear about the tactics they use to get the narrative they want.
Fucking bastards.
In this documentary, you're going to hear a lot about Hope Not Hate. It's important you understand who they are. Hope Not Hate is a so-called anti-fascist organisation who formed in 2004. They formed from a group in a magazine called Searchlight. Nick Lowles, who now leads Hope Not Hate, was a lead member of Searchlight. In 1984, Searchlight worked alongside Panorama to fraudulently edit footage, which they were prosecuted or taken to court and sued for. They paid £1 million damages to Conservative MPs who they wrongfully edited footage to link them with far-right extremist groups. Hope Not Hate brand themselves as an anti-fascist organisation. They're there to tackle fascism. In reality, they label, slander and attack anyone who speaks out against open borders or against Islam. The worrying thing is they have a lot of influence. For example, all media outlets across the UK, across the world, take what they say as credible and they work hand in hand with them. From CNN, The Guardian, Huffington Post, The Independent, Sky News, Newsnight, Panorama, The Metro, The Sunday Times. They even advise the UN. They advise counter-terrorism. In their advice to the UN, they say that our Day for Freedom demonstration that many of you would have watched was a far-right extremist rally. That's fake news, being given as credible information and taken as expert info. By the UN, our Day for Freedom demonstration had homosexual speakers, drag artists, black speakers, Asian speakers. There was nothing far-right against it. It was a liberal demonstration demanding free speech.
So what happens is, when someone gets censored on Twitter for some kind of for hate speech or for incitement to violence or engaging in some kind of terrorist communication, they get their account taken down. They tend to come back, and that actually leads to sort of an increased level of sense of participation and integration into these networks. So I do a lot of work looking into right-wing extremism in the United Kingdom and the United States. And one of the things that we've seen there is actually an entire mobilization of right-wing extremist activity around the concept of the freedom of speech being taken away from people. So just a few weeks ago in London, there was a march attended by a few thousand people that was called Day for Freedom, and that was entirely sort of centered around this issue of free speech and the sense that in the kind of parlance of the extreme right, the liberal establishment was trying to silence extreme right, legitimate conservative voices.
Just last year, Hope Not Hate were identified in the Swedish military report on left-wing extremist violence. It has been proven that Hope Not Hate exaggerated hate crime figures by 3,000%. Nothing they said after that point should ever have been taken as credible, let alone taken by journalists without checking anything and spread around the world to demonise and slander people and organisations. They play a key role in pressurising social media giants, whether it be with petitions or requests from MPs that they're working alongside with to say who's promoting hate. Not who's promoting hate that would breach laws in this country, but who needs silencing with their opinion. They're now teaching your children in schools about fascism. If we take a quote from their original spin doctor, Dan Hodgson, from his quote you'll understand the tactics they use in this documentary. It was a no-holds-barred, bare-knuckle PR. We used every dirty, underhand, low-down, unscrupulous trick in the book. These are quotes from their spin doctor, Joe Moorhouse, who is a lead researcher for for Hope Not Hate. He brags about days out with their BBC political reporters. Their relationship works hand in hand with the corrupt mainstream media. They do the reports, the media then use their ammunition and their labelling to attack people and organisations, to demonise them and slander them. In 2015, Joe Mulhall used the hashtag Antifa on several occasions. The reason why this is so relevant is when you understand who Antifa are. Antifa are an organisation that leading members of the American government have called to be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. They balaclava up, they mask up, and they violently attack people who they're told to attack, and organisations which are highlighted to them by groups and organisations like Hope Not Hate. They find out who you are, they contact your work, anyone who steps above the parapet. Hope Not Hate's goal is to silence them and stop them. This is about stopping free speech. This is about having people too scared to speak. We'll speak with one gentleman now whose life has been completely changed due to him voicing his opinions. He broke no law, committed no crime. But wait till you hear what Hope Not Hate done to him.
This time last year, I said I was working full-time, happy, and because of some things I was doing outside of work, where I sort of expressed my political opinions and so on, I ended up drawing their fire, and they wrote a report and called it in to the employer. So it was a kind of deliberate attempt to, it wasn't just to dox me, because I hadn't hidden my name, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, I was just expressing an opinion. But it was an attempt to deliberately get me fired.
Where was you working?
I was working at Standard Chartered Bank in Moorgate.
2 months.
I was an associate, so I've been there from a grad. I went to Bristol University and then went in for bank straight afterwards. So I've been there for about just around 18 months at this point.
So a good career.
Yeah, it was going well. Internally, there'd been no issues.
When you say you got involved, you was giving your political opinions with regards to?
Obviously the controversial stuff, so immigration, Islam, these kind of issues, but not in an extreme way, nothing you wouldn't happily say to anyone.
Just so we can get clear, we're not talking about committing a crime, we're just talking about speaking openly about immigration and Islam.
Yeah, and no one had a problem. That's the whole point that kind of strikes me about it.
It's not like anyone made a complaint, nothing's happening, so what did Hope Not Hate do?
So Hope Not Hate, one of their, I can't remember which, but a team of their researchers wrote a small report. They were calling out multiple officers at the bank, and they were also focusing, because obviously we have a very big presence in the Middle East. So they were focusing on officers there to call them and just basically say, you've got this guy working for you, he's an Islamophobe, he's a racist, blah, 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 all of which obviously isn't true. I remember I was just sitting at my desk and I get called in by the MD and sort of said, you've been saying this. And I said, yeah, didn't see this problem. The same guys were going to other journalists trying to flog this report as well to make a big story out of it. Eventually, in around the summer of last year, you get this article. It's very vicious and it's obviously largely lifted from the report that came out a few weeks earlier. You know, using slurs, using kind of nonsense labels, calling us Nazis, all that kind of thing.
Calling Nazis with any evidence?
No evidence whatsoever. It was made up with very clear intention of making me lose my job, and it is a common tactic.
You did lose your job?
Yeah, I was suspended, and then once the coverage happened, they obviously, whilst previously, like internally, the bank, I think, had kind of thought, well, maybe this is just an attack piece. Once there was coverage, obviously, is their reputation on the line. So then, pretty much immediately, I was fired. I have worked.
Just so that the public understand this, you committed no crime. You speak outside of work about immigration or Islam with no hatred, just facts. And because of that, where are you now? How's your life changed? What do you see for your future now?
Financially very difficult, of course, because it kills your income. And then there's not much always pain.
Okay, well thanks, and I hope you wish you luck and try and get your life sorted. Good luck.
Thank you.
So you've heard from Tom Frick. You've heard how his life was changed simply for expressing his free speech due to the actions of Hope Not Hate. Later on in this documentary, you'll hear recordings of Caelan Robertson and George Llewellyn John, see how their lives have been affected. Caelan and George used to work with me at Rebel Media, and when I went independent, they come to work with me there. When I was released from prison, I met with them. They said that they'd been intimidated and threatened, and for that reason they couldn't work with me. I'd just been released from prison. I wasn't in a good state, and I thought they were just saying that because they wanted to go and work with Lawrence Southern. Also, you'll hear recordings from Lawrence Southern. Lawrence Southern is a leading political activist from Canada. She now works as a journalist making documentaries. In those recordings, you'll hear about allegations about how they've suffered due to the actions of Hope Not Hate. So I've been contacted by Lucy Brown, who's an ex-employee. The last time we spoke to each other, we were now she's been contacted by Hope Not Hate and by Panorama, who are working together on a project against me. Working title, Tommy Tape. So I'm on the way to see Lucy. I'm actually really concerned and worried about what it is they're up to. Because I know everything they've tried to do to take me down hasn't worked. So let's see what's next. Last time I spoke to him, I screamed some obscene, some terrible things.
So did I. I also had a surprise for you. I thought I'd commiserate it, so I actually got your prison number.
No, you
to
haven't!
remind myself that happened so bad.
8208 4CG!
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my god!
Laugh my head off.
Oh my god! Shit, Lucy, you were fucking angry! How have we ended up sitting here?
Well, I received a very interesting email from one John Sweeney a couple of days ago, who is a big, was it BBC presenter or Panorama? Yes, apparently he's quite well known. And he's asking if I want to go for, first it was a cup of tea, but then it was a pint.
Mom's killing me.
And he'll come all the way to Cambridge to see me, and I think he wants some dirt on you.
It's good for helping out, yeah.
Right, Joe Mulhall?
Joe Mulhall, yes, Hope Not Hate.
So you approached by Hope Not Hate, who told you, I've seen what they told you, they told you that they were going to take Tommy down.
There's a Tommy Takedown.
Tommy Takedown?
Yes, and they've been taken on as sort of advisors to BBC to help them with interviews and to get information about you.
How easy would it have been for you to?
They offered me $5,000 for a front page story about you being a twat.
Well, you could have absolutely destroyed me, and my life, and my name,
Yeah.
and my reputation. More so than that was more so than me going in prison could have done. Because you could have said anything, and they would have.
I've arranged to meet John Sweeney tomorrow at 2 p.m. and by the sounds of it, what these people do is they try and be your friend when you're vulnerable, and they apply you a drink, and they try to get you to say something that you wouldn't normally say.
I want to show if what Lucy could have done. Well, none of it will be factual, but what Lucy could have done. Now bear in mind, I might not have been here. You could have just done this. Fake technology. Falsify send number. So if you wanted to, my phone will be here. Let's change the number there. We'll keep that as receipt. Let's put my number in. So you effectively, as a disgruntled employee who fucking got the prison number tattooed on your wrist, let's take down Tommy.
I've got no means of income, I hate you. Joe Morgan's just messaged me saying I can get you some money to do Tommy in. So I can go to fakemytext.co.uk and I can make you text me, and then I can show.
My phone's here. I'm at home, minding my own business.
Joe Morgan there,
Joe Mulhall offering the takedown of Tommy Robinson.
offering you some money, and you have said to me, what?
If you have anything to do with the power company, I will fucking bury you. You bitch.
Because I'm writing Y-O-U, but you write me.
Oh, right.
Sorry. I just need to make it some bad grammar because.
Yeah, drop the T's because I don't pronounce my T.
You're going to put W-I-V instead of with. There's Panorama. You wouldn't make that capital.
No, I put with. I put with.
Okay, right. There's Panorama dot.
If you have anything to do with yeah, hang
I
on.
will fucking bury you. Comment.
Bury you.
You bitch.
Just to prove, I can have nothing to do with this. I'm not, my phone's here, so I've not sent you a message. And the point is that they're actively searching with a far left organisation. They're actively working with my ex-employees to bring me down. What I want to prove here is how easy it is and how many other things in this documentary have been faked on me. If you had anything to do with this Panorama doc, I will fucking bury you, you bitch. So I didn't send that. That's sent from my computer. My phone has not sent you a single message. Now Panorama are the biggest investigative journalists in the world. So I don't see how this can work. If they wanted to do a proper investigative journalist piece, they should look at the crime that I committed. Was it criminal? Did the judge act out of law? Were my human rights abused? One of the biggest cases in this country's history in modern time. Yeah? 600,000 people signed a petition, 30,000 people marching, ambassadors from the American government, every political party in Europe talking about it. The most talked about court case in decades, and they're not bothered about it. This is fake. Yeah? This is going to be falsified. This is not me. And I want to see if this, by a disgruntled ex-employee, could make its way around the world.
I'd like to see how much power Hope Not Hate have over the world's media.
Yeah, basically. This is the little money, this will replace your button. This will go into your button anyway. This is how we'll record. And are you nervous? No. You should be. You should be. And well, let's just wait and see what we get from this. Time will tell. Good luck. Don't do anything I would do. See you later. Success? Mission accomplished. Yes.
Hey!
You took it for the team. Only drunk for the team.
I do what I have to do.
Right. Let's
get this file sorted.
let's work out what we've got. We've got lots of footage to go through. Straight off the crazy thing me. You're Steve.
Which is a champagne and a double dip. And then we're going to have some red wine. But we'll find out about that at the appropriate amount. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You ran on expenses in a window with the door and the phone.
Stick your TV license up your ass! You dick.
This is from the Cassis, or the Kia Royale. But even better is another
tell he's wankered.
With blackberry, black currants, liqueur, and champagne. Kia Royale. Have you got any flaming Sambuca? And then 2 Kia Royale, and then the bell. Lovely, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we've got to do a runner.
Look at Elvis, that.
It's fine, it's okay. Not only, I really don't care, because service included, so make it 220. Thank you very much.
What's this on BBC Extensions? How much alcohol has been consumed? I've heard him mention 3 bottles of wine, champagne, flaming Sambuca, all in 5 minutes. And you can hardly sit up. So, for me, that's an expensive scandal that we've paid, the licence fee is paying for. Should we be paying for you to get it?
No.
Yeah.
Me getting drunk is me being more lucid, and then I'll tell him stuff.
So he's wanting to get you drunk. He's using the expense money to get you drunk in order to get
Get me
information.
drunk, be nice to me, be my friend, and then I'll listen and be like, oh, I've got this recording, or you know, I can tell you this, or whatever.
You may not like what I'm about to say, but one of my political heroes is the former head of the IRA.
Nick Knowles.
He's wankered, it's funny.
The guy got on well with the Queen. So there were 2 of them.
I should know that, but
Danny McGuinness, and he got on anyway. He was the chief of staff of the IRA.
hey man, I've heard the Irish are being genocided.
And last time I was there,
Martin McGuinness. His political hero is Martin McGuinness.
Fuck the Pope!
Martin McGuinness, leader of the
Don't
IRA.
surrender!
He's responsible for murder. Bombs. It's a strange person to have as your political hero. from, well, I don't know, from someone who's trying to paint me as a tree anyway. That is the sole reason I wanted to do this. For me, that is terrifying. How can they get that? How can he say he can do that from that innocent conversational argument or disagreement, which has got nothing to do with it? So that is the sole reason I wanted that footage, to see exactly what are, and that's terrifying for me to think, what the hell are they about to portray to the country about me? What the hell are they going to say?
That's not the first time that's happened, is it?
In what sense?
So I told you about, I was offered £5,000 to do like a story on you, like a front page newspaper story.
But I hope not hate them, someone don't pitch it.
But I was also...
I hope not hate who are working with these.
Yeah, but I was also approached by a really mainstream newspaper, basically, to kind of make it out that you were like sexual allegations against me or something.
What?
They were approaching you. At a time when we fell out.
Yeah, they said when I was in my therapist and I basically didn't have a job and I was like, you know, a complete mess, and they were trying to like dig and get stuff out. And they were trying to make out that you'd done like a mean tweet. They were trying to make out that you basically like abused me. And then they wanted to put it, they kind of ran with and went back to their editor, and then I called up and said, I really don't want this isn't true, you know, you kind of twisted it to fit your own narrative here. And he said, well, I'm sorry, it's too late, I've already sent it to the editors, and they want to run the story, this journalist. So I then had to call up, like, you know, this national journalist kind of like lawyery thing where you can call up and complain. And I had to put in writing saying, please do not put this out. If you put this out, I'm going to have to, like, you know, go against you legally or something. So I had to fight to get this story out of the paper.
So I'm a mainstream journalist. I'm a top tabloid. In order to portray me as an abuse, essentially. With no truth in it all. And that for my life, do you know, the whole purpose in me wanting this, the whole reason why I've wanted to do this, is because I've been absolutely terrified of what they're doing. And that one little recording there, proves that they will change what I'm doing and saying. This is massive. This is Britain's leading investigative journalist documentary by the BBC that we paid for. Creating, editing news in order to destroy my life. Now, John Sweeney's been contacting me for weeks now for a gotcha moment where he can interview me and throw all these accusations from God knows who at me. Well, that gotcha moment is now in my hands. Because I'm now going to sit down and I'm going to put these to John Sweeney to see how he justifies any of this. Fine. Just before we start,
John Sweeney is
I just want to, because I am of fair and balanced, I just wanted to get a couple of things on while we're here. Is that alright before we start?
Okay, but you're recording.
That's why you do it.
Okay, so we're not starting yet.
That's something you right. So, this is a panorama documentary. You wouldn't be working with an organisation called Hope Not Hate in this documentary in order to find people to make it opinions. Okay, so it's BBC, because it'd be quite strange for the BBC to be, how the BBC could be impartial in a documentary when Hope Not Hate are an organisation that are funded specifically to destroy.
There are two separate entities. The BBC, I work for the BBC, this is the BBC
as an answer. Can I just quickly show something? What this is Joe Moore from Hope Not Hank. And what he says in this message is that Hope Not Hank are steering this documentary.
My name's John Sweeney.
Okay, John. So what this other guy says, he's not steering.
Are you aware of any threats or blackmail that's been made to any of my ex-employees to give negative information about YouTube? Are you aware? No.
We were basically threatened with the most horrendous shit you can possibly imagine for 3 months, constantly to do this, constantly. Because basically, why they have dirt on us is when we left Rebel. I don't know if I told you this. When we left Rebel, we were really fucking angry, and none of the media would take all the stuff we had on them. So Nick Close reached out to me on Twitter and he was like, "Oh, meet up with us." And we were like, "Oh, okay," like we weren't working with anyone then, so we were like, "Yeah, fuck it." And we met up with them twice, and we were like, "Oh, we can write a book on Rebel Media, we can write a book on how they scammed people and this and this and this and this and this," and we were like really conniving with them. One of the first things they started threatening us with, this only started 3 months ago, we had no contact with them between 3 months ago and leaving Rebel, nothing. They started messaging us saying, "We need to meet you, this is really serious." And then when we met them, they said to George, I wasn't there, "We're going to release all of the meetings that you've had with us, threatening Rebel Media and talking shit about right-wing personalities and bitching about nothing serious, just taking other pounds. And they're going to make you, and we're going to basically expose you." And also we've got 6 signatures from the top trade unionist organisations in the country saying that they're going to come after you, and the government have opened a new department which we're advising on counter-terrorism, which are going to prosecute you for writing scripts which have incited the Darren Osborne terrorist attack. And it was like they were basically like, "You're going to fucking go to jail and you're going to get exposed for meeting with us if you don't work with us." This is what it all comes down to, this Panorama fucking thing. And Hope Not Hate were there, standing next to the BBC producers.
When you went for the meeting in Panorama, who from Hope Not Hate was there?
Nick, Joe, John Sweeney, and the producer.
John Sweeney is a wanker.
This is how bad it really was. When we pulled up in London, this was the day I dropped off the suitcase to you, right? That I went straight off from there, kind of where it was, to go and do this interview with them. They hired out this big car park warehouse thing. They had a little chair in the middle of it. I walked into this room, sat down. It was a cameraman, it was the head producer, it was Nick, and it was Joe. And then I started getting really nervous because she was saying, "How much money?" Name numbers, name figures, and I was like, "Well, it was enough to pay for us to make videos, and all the money was spent on it." And I was just saying vague shit. And then Joe said, "Can we stop the interview, please?" And then I was like, "Okay." And then Nick went, "Can you come with us, Kaylin?" And then Nick and Joe took me to the other side of the warehouse and said, "Kaylin, you really need to give them more information than this. You really need to open up a little bit more because this is really not useful to them. They're probably not even going to use this. You need to go into specifics, you need to go into numbers, you need to at least show them something."
Were they threatening you?
Have a cigarette and we'll come back to it.
Were they threatening you then?
I had a cigarette and I went back and I sat down and I still couldn't really do it, and it was really bad. Like I was like shaking the whole time. And that's when we told Panorama that we didn't feel that it was safe, that it was not okay, and that we were basically threatened.
Yeah, that's a strange one here. I know, sorry man, I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning here, but I've just got off the phone to Kaylin for an hour, yeah? How much have they told you about Hope Not Hate?
Not much, why?
You're aware they've been meeting with them regularly?
I've met Joe too before. Yeah, I know that Kaylin and George have met with them before.
Continually met with them? When you was doing your Borderless documentary, Hope Not Hate flew out to Italy to meet them?
I don't know what they were talking about, but for the most part, I think they're just afraid of them. From what I've been told, it's they're oh, they're kind of blackmailing us, hang out with us or else we're going to get you guys arrested or whatever. So they just met with them.
So hold on a second. I'm with Panorama.
Why Hope Not Hate present in that? Why Hope Not Hate present in the interview headquarters?
I'm with Panorama, and we are doing a film about you.
Are you aware of that? Are you aware of the
I'm the reporter and I'm asking questions. Okay? But I get the point. Are you aware? Let me ask you one question. Are you aware that these images sent by someone from Home Hand to their I'm aware of the